Well, Jeremy, good evening to you. Good evening to you in the afternoon, and to the viewers at home. We are indeed at Luthuli House with the ANC's Treasurer General Paul Mashatile, who's going to set the record straight on whether the ANC did receive a donation of 2 million rands from VBS, which is owned by Vele Investments. In fact, that donation did come from Vele Investments, and we're just going to throw straight to Paul Mashatile, the ANC's Treasurer General. Treasurer General, thank you very much for granting us this opportunity. Just first and foremost, how has the transition been from provincial politics as the former chairperson of the ANC in Gauteng to now the Treasurer General of the African National Congress?
Well, firstly, Samgela, welcome to Luthuli House.
Thank you very much.
Well, I do miss my comrades in Gauteng, but I'm happy at Luthuli House. Obviously, dealing with different challenges. The ANC is a big organization, so when you are at head office, the challenges are 2 times, 3 times bigger than in the province. But yeah, we're doing well.
Just to cut straight to the chase, Paul Mashatile, a direct question to you. How much did you receive from VBS or Vele Investments, which owns VBS, as forms of donation? You may have not been the Treasurer General at the time, but I'm sure you've received the audits of where the donations of the ANC have been coming from in the past year or so, ever since the 2016 local government elections. How much did you get from them?
There are 2 amounts I'm aware of. In 2016, I'm told that they paid a service provider 2 million rands for I can't know what it was for, but it was during the election campaign. The former Treasurer General did confirm that there was such a contribution. It didn't come to our books, so I couldn't pick it up earlier until I was informed this week. The one I picked up earlier was an amount of 250,000 rands. Vele bought a table at our dinner in East London on January 8. PBF was selling tables for the dinner, and we did find on our record that that 250,000 came from Vele.
But generally, TG, during fundraising gala dinners of the ANC, such as that of the Progressive Business Forum, you do have various business entities and individuals standing up and pledging some sorts of amounts of donations to the ANC. Did the VBS guys and Vele Investments stand up and pledge any amount at that fundraising gala dinner that you had in East London for your January 8 statement?
No, they didn't. They just bought the table. And you recall at the time there were no issues about VBS, so nobody was alert to that. Normally when our team sell tables to companies, we don't really inspect their books or check those things. We always assume that business people run credible businesses, so when they buy tables, they come to our functions, we accept them as such. So there was no a VBS person who stood and said, I'm pledging anything. But when there was travel at VBS, we did check and we did find out that, in fact, there's a company called Vele that did buy a table at the time. And I instructed my team, I said, any funds that come into the ANC and is money stolen or acquired irregularly, we should not accept it. If we have, we must return it.
Don't you were once the former Cocktail Minister here in Gauteng.
Yeah.
Investments into VBS may have already been made before you came in as an MEC.
Yeah.
When you look at what's currently happening in Randfontein, where Boyce Maneli is the mayor and workers are holding officials hostage in that particular municipality, how do you feel that VBS has been looted, bankrupted? Now municipalities, after depositing into VBS, are failing to pay their employees. How do you feel when such a scenario is happening in Gauteng and other municipalities across the country?
It's obviously very bad. I mean, when I was MEC for Cocta, one of the municipalities I had to bail out was the West Rand after the merger, including Randfontein, because they were struggling. But at the time, nobody knew that they are investing money in VBS. I mean, looking back, if we knew, we would have really advised against it. So we need to fix it. My approach is that Those who obviously did that knowingly that is wrong, who have done wrong things, we must act against them speedily. We mustn't try and shield people because they are members of the ANC and make a lot of noise about EFF. We must actually focus on our own and make sure that those who did wrong are punished.
Such as who? Do you have any idea who may have done wrong? Or we've got individuals in the ANC such as Danim Caesar, the treasurer of the ANC in Limpopo, and Florence Radzelani, who are implicated in this VBS report, where you've got the ANC's Integrity Commission who are saying they must step aside. Yes. Should they step aside, or what must happen?
The Integrity Commission is sending a recommendation to the NEC this weekend. My approach is that the recommendation of the Integrity Commission must mean something, must be taken seriously. That's why we set it up. So I'm sure once a recommendation comes from the Integrity Commission, the leadership of the ANC will accept that, unless there's something else that still needs to be explained. But we need to go beyond people stepping down. Of course, leaders must step down, issues must be investigated, but there are CFOs in municipalities, there are city managers, all those people who actually made decisions, particularly knowing that it's unlawful. We need to act against them immediately. We shouldn't waste time.
So, not to get you wrong here, TG, you are saying action must be taken against Florence Radzelani and Danim Caesar. The recommendation of George Mashamba, the chairperson of the Integrity Commission, must stand, and those who are implicated must do the right thing. And to quote your words that you used back in 2016 on the 12th of April, when you were still provincial chairperson, you said that former President Jacob Zuma must introspect and do the right thing. Are you expecting the same of Florence Radzelani, Danim Caesar, and all others in the ANC, even such as the likes of Malusi Gigaba, who have been found wanting for lying, now not only by a court of law in South Africa, but also by the public protector?
We expect leaders of the ANC to lead with integrity. And in most cases, we don't even expect them to be told what to do. They should know. There are many of our leaders who are fingered for different things. Obviously, we've introduced the Integrity Commission to be able to hear their cases, because there should be fairness where people can explain themselves. We don't even want those leaders to wait to be called. They should go and say to the Integrity Commission, there are allegations against me. Please check them so that I can clear my name. But of course, if the Integrity Commission comes and say, comrades so and so and so and so have done the following, or there are these allegations, we think they should step aside, I think the leadership of the ANC must take that seriously. We mustn't dismiss that, because at the end of the day, it's about saving and securing brand ANC. It's about ethics in the ANC, because sometimes there's this perception that the ANC is a corrupt organization, which is not true. It's individuals within the movement who cause problems, and the ANC must act against them.
I just want to get these political questions out of the way before we get into the economy and the work that the incumbent president, whom you supported going towards the 54th National Conference, is doing. A straight question. Should Malusi Gigaba introspect and do the right thing, in the words the ANC Gauteng used back in 2016?
All our leaders must do that. Those who are implicated, allegations against them, must do that. The leadership will meet the top six either Sunday or Monday. We will look at all the reports against comrades like Malusi. And my view is that sometimes comrades must be given a chance to explain themselves. I don't want to be unfair on anybody. But we expect comrades in leadership to lead by example, show integrity, don't be chased around. But we must always be fair, that the comrade might say, look, I want to explain, I did no wrong here. We'll give them that opportunity, but Our priority is to protect the ANC, not individuals.
On the issues of the economy now, Treasurer General, the President just recently held an investment summit which was addressed by Chinese businessman and founder of Alibaba, Jack Ma.
Yes.
We've got these billions of 290 billion rands of investment coming into the country. Investment, mind you say, not pledges. But you've got a public broadcaster that is seeking to retrench workers. What does this say when the private sector is making moves to invest into the country and create jobs, but you've got an arm which is owned by the government which is looking to retrench workers? Does this not put clout on the ANC's work in government and what you have been preaching for the private sector to preserve jobs while the government is said to be offloading public sector servants? And you've got the SABC, which is also retrenching workers.
Yes, the ANC does not support retrenchment of workers, particularly in this period where, you know, it's a difficult situation for all South Africans. The economy has been sluggish. People are struggling with employment. So we are saying even the SABC, we are saying to them, find another way to deal with what is obviously a big burden to them is costs. But don't go that route of retrenchments. We have taken a view that, for instance, in the public service, because we have a very high wage bill, that we will look at natural attrition. As people get old, they leave the system, we don't replace, we only fill critical posts. So there's a way of reducing a wage bill without necessarily going the retrenchment route, because you are quite right. We want to create employment, particularly for young people. So we would definitely advise against retrenchment at the SABC.
When it comes to the issues of the stimulus package, how much of an influence, as the Treasurer General of the ANC and what the President presented at NEDLAC when there was that summit with the stimulus package summit, the job summit which was held, how much of an influence did you have there? And does the President of the ANC and of the country, does he listen to the views of the ANC's other top 6 officials, unlike what his predecessor, former President Jacob Zuma, was accused of just making the final decisions and not consulting other stakeholders within the ANC and the tripartite alliance?
Why are you comparing him with Zuma?
Many people have compared their leadership style.
No, let me put it this way. President Ramaphosa works very well with the top 6. And I would say the whole NEC, a lot of the issues he is implementing government. He discusses with us. We are aware of them. He enjoys our full support. So the issues of stimulus and so on, he had a discussion with us. So we're fully behind him, whether it's an investment conference, job summit. And my view is that I think the president is doing well, giving good leadership in the country. And what I like is that I think he's pushing everyone to implement, because sometimes that's the weakness. We come with a lot of good ideas, but we don't implement. I think you're going to see a big push for implementation. As you can see with the stimulus, already the Minister of Finance has put resources, 50 billion, reprioritized, infrastructure fund coming. So we're very happy with the leadership he's giving, and he's enjoying full support at Luthuli House and throughout the country from all our members. Why
wouldn't you want former President Zuma's leadership compared to the incumbent Cyril Ramaphosa? Because that's a parameter of where leaders are generally assessed, of where the predecessor was doing and how the incumbent is doing now. Is there some sort of huge difference that you are seeing between the two?
No, we don't like that kind of comparison. I think leaders must be really judged on the ability to implement policies of the ANC and its programs. And also I think we should take away this perception that there's a perpetual tension and fight between the new leadership and the former President Zuma. There's no such. He himself has said he will actually campaign for the ANC during the election. He continued to do work. He comes to our meetings. So we are focused on the work we are doing. And all I can say is that President Ramaphosa is doing very well.
Does he speak to you, particularly after that voice recording where you are speaking to investors in Cape Town, where you are saying he will be voted out and you will vote with the Economic Freedom Fighters? After that voice recording, maybe he never spoke to you again. Does he speak to you?
No, we actually have a very good relationship. Every time I meet President Zuma, we hug and laugh, and so because he knows that our differences have not been personal. If I have a view that we could do something differently, he holds a different view. That's what the democracy is in the ANC, but no tension at all.
Okay. On issues of Tito Mboweni,
yes,
the finance minister, you as the former chairperson of Gauteng ANC and former MEC here in the province, you've been very vocal with the then Gauteng leadership. I've seen the new chairperson, David Makura, saying they don't know where Tito Mboweni, the new finance minister, gets this view that South Africans must pay for e-tolls. The ANC in Gauteng has a resolution that the e-tolls must be scrapped, and South Africans and citizens of Gauteng must not be paying for these e-tolls. What is your view on e-tolls?
Yeah. Well, remember, I was the leader of the ANC in Gauteng, so that resolution was taken when I was there. But I think Comrade Tito is misunderstood. I was in Parliament when he spoke, and this is what I heard him say. He said, I think we need to use the principle of user pay. We fully agree. Gauteng leadership agrees. In fact, if you look at our resolution 2014, it says exactly that. We support user pay, including tolling of roads broadly. But we had a problem with e-toll in particular because we regarded it what we call urban tolling that is excessive in terms of affordability. So it was an affordability issue, really. It was not a principal opposition to tolling as a method. We're tolling roads to Limpopo, to Durban, everywhere. Nobody's complaining. But we think the method of tolling in Gauteng called e-toll was not affordable. And I think that issue must be seen in that context. I don't think Comrade Tito will have a problem. He can't come and say, well, Gauteng people who can't afford, but you shall pay. But his view was, if we have to improve roads throughout the country, the issue of user pay will help. People must pay for tolls, and then we'll build more roads. So we need to find a different model for Gauteng. I think Comrade Makura will probably have some engagement with us at national to find that solution.
Do you believe they should go?
Definitely.
What steps are you taking to make sure that they are gone? You are now sitting in the ANC top 6. Surely you should be advocating for that policy and for the ANC president to implement. Why aren't you doing that? We are. When are they going?
Let me tell what the problem is with the Gauteng e-tolls. We've discussed it several times, even with the president. It's really to find a way of dealing with the cost of when the project was built and implemented. That's really the issue. You don't walk away from debts. We need to find a solution to that debt, and we must introduce a different approach. There's no difference between the province and national leadership on debt. National leadership is not saying to Gauteng, hey, you guys, whatever you do, you shall have this system. National leadership is saying we are willing to find a different route. And we will find it. We are busy. We're putting our heads together.
My last question to you, Mashatile,
yeah,
and the final one. Is the ANC in the red financially, or are you financially stable?
We are fine.
Well, that was Paul Mashatile, the ANC Treasurer General, speaking on various political issues, saying that the likes of Malusi Gigaba, Denim Caesar, and Florence Radzelani must, to quote the words they used back on the 12th of April 2016, introspect and do the right thing. They don't necessarily have to be called by the ANC, also saying the ANC top 6 will meet on Friday or Saturday morning to discuss various political issues in the country, and also saying the much talked about e-tolls which are here in Gauteng, which the Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, says South Africans must adopt a culture of paying. David Makura, the chairperson of the ANC, coming out and saying e-tolls must be scrapped, saying he still stands with that Gauteng perspective or view that they resolved on when he was still the chairperson of the ANC in Gauteng, and also confirming that they did receive a 2 million rands donation from Vele Investments, and also they did receive another donation when it came to the ANC's fundraising Progressive Business Forum Gala dinner, which they had going towards their January 8 statement in East London.